Hello students, yesterday we have started polarity in covalent bonds. Now, as you know that a covalent bond is formed between two atoms of exactly same electronegativity. Then the electron pair will remain exactly in between the two, and that is a perfect ideal condition for a covalent bond. For example, you can see here between A and B, the electron pair is located in between. So these are non-polar covalent molecules. Here are many examples given for the non-polar covalent molecules because the electron pair is shared equally. For example, here you can see hydrogen, fluorine, chlorine, nitrogen, oxygen. And why is it so? Because both the atoms between which the electron pair is being shared, they are same. That means their electronegativity is same. So if the electronegativity will remain same, the attraction for the electron pair in between will also be same, and therefore they are examples of non-polar covalent molecules. But what if the two atoms differ in their electronegativities? Then the electron pair will be shifted more towards a more electronegative element or atom. For example, here you can see A and B. Now B is more electronegative than A. So what will happen that the electron pair will be shifted towards a B. As a consequence, B will have a development of a small negative charge which we represent as delta negative, and consequently A will have delta positive charge. This delta is used here to show small development of the charge. Now the poles are being developed, and therefore this we call as polarity in a covalent bond. So a polarity is induced in the covalent bond. Here are many examples given. In the HCl, you know that chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. So this is again an example of polar covalent bond. HF, F will develop delta negative, hydrogen will develop delta positive. In water molecule, the two hydrogen atoms will have delta positive and oxygen will have delta negative because there will be polarity due to the difference in the electronegativity. Similar is the case of NF3, nitrogen trifluoride, where you can see that all the fluorine is having delta negatives and nitrogen will develop delta positive. So though nitrogen is a non-metal, it will also have some electronegativity, but fluorine is more electronegative than nitrogen. So here the polarity in the molecule depends upon the electronegativity. If the electronegativity of B is greater than A, then that polarity will be developed. And this we call as a polarity in covalent bond. Now, how do we measure this polarity? We can measure this polarity in terms of dipole moment. Dipole moment is basically measured as represented as mu and measured as q into r. What is q? Q will be the charge in coulombs which will be developed, and r is equal to distance in meters. There are two parameters which will help us to find out the polarity in the covalent molecule, and that is the charge development and the distance between the two ions, right? So here the dipole moment mu can be measured as q into r. Now its unit is debye, and 1 debye is equal to 3.3 roughly into 10 to the power minus 30 coulomb meter. We can also say that the dipole moment can be defined as the product of the magnitude of charge into distance between the centers of positive and negative charge. Now what is actually the benefit, or you can say as a consequence, what do we understand from the dipole moment is it is a vector quantity. Okay, and in physics, you know, you will depict it by a small arrow with a tail on the negative center and head pointing towards the positive center. But in chemistry, we are represented in a crossed arrow, like I have made it here. You can see a crossed arrow on the Lewis structure. The cross is on the positive end and the arrowhead is on the negative end. It shows the shifting of electron pair from the positive side to the negative side. So here you can see the positive cross and the head arrow pointing towards a more electronegative atom, that is Cl. Now since it is a vector quantity, In a polyatomic molecule, the overall dipole will depends upon the sum of the dipole moments of various bonds. For example, you can see here in BeF2 molecule, in BeF2 beryllium and two fluorines are at an angle of 180 degree. The net dipole is found to be 0 because from both the ends, the polarity is towards the opposite side. So whatever dipole has been created by one F, that is being cancelled by the other F. So the net dipole will be 0. Similar is the case of BF3 molecule. Here in BF3, the any two dipole created by two fluorine atoms will be equal to the one which is created by another or the third fluorine atom. So what will happen if this is equal in the dimension, then the net dipole is equal to 0. Let me take a very simple example to explain you this. If two people are pulling a table towards themselves, and if on the other side there is one person having the force equal in magnitude, then what will happen? The table will not be displaced in any of the direction. It is something like that, and therefore the net dipole will be 0, like the table will not move in either direction. So the net dipole here is 0. Similar is the case of BeCl2 molecule, where you will again get the dipole moment as 0. But see, in case of water, the resultant dipole and the dipole created all in one direction. So there will be some net dipole. You can see the arrows formed over here. The dipole created by oxygen and two hydrogens are all in the same direction. You can see the head of the arrow. And here, therefore, the net dipole is found to be 1.85 dBAR. So here, water molecule will have a resultant dipole of 1.85 dBAR. There are some very interesting and other examples as well. Here in BeCl3 molecule, you will have dipole as 0. Here in CeCl4 molecule, again the dipole is 0. Then what does it mean? That the magnitude of the two opposing factors is equal, and therefore the dipole will be 0. But a very interesting example is that of NF3 and NH3. In case of NF3 molecule, you can see there are three fluorine atoms, but the dipole of the three fluorine atoms is opposite to that created by the nitrogen, and therefore there will be cancellation of the dipole. So the net dipole will not be very high. It is simply 0.8 into 10 to the power minus 30 coulometer. If I ask you to compare NF3 with NH3, you might probably think that fluorine is more electronegative, hence the dipole of the NF3 should be greater than NH3. But that is not the case, because dipole is a vector quantity, so it depends upon the direction of the dipole created. Here you can see that the dipole is getting cancelled out, and therefore the net dipole sum is very less than expected. Wherein in case of ammonia molecule, please focus on the direction of the arrow. It is all in one direction. When it will be all in one direction, then what will happen? The overall magnitude will be greater, and if it is greater, then the net value of the dipole will be more. So in case of ammonia molecule, the dipole moment will be greater than NF3. So dipole helps us to understand the polarity in the molecule. Now, like ionic compounds have covalent characters. How? Basically, what is a perfect ionic compound? An ionic compound is, formed by having electrostatic force of attraction because of the transfer of electron from one atom to another atom. And therefore, they gain positive and negative charges. And these charges attract each other. They bring the atoms as close as possible. In a perfectly ionic compound, there will be complete charge separation of positive and negative. So that we will call as a perfect ionic compound. But is that practically speaking, is that completely possible? Because both the atoms are bonded. So that actually induces covalent character in the ionic compound. Now, how this covalent character has arisen? That is, basically, in most of the cases, the electron cloud of an ion is attracted by a cation and is pulled towards the cation, because cation is positively charged. So obviously, any thing which is positive will attract the electron cloud towards itself. Due to this, what will happen? The negative charge density on the anion will decrease because this is being pulled by the cation. At the same time, the positive charge density on the cation will also decrease due to the shift of the electron cloud of anion in the middle. This arises partial covalent character in the ionic compound. The pulling of electron cloud by cation is called polarization of anion by cation. The ability of cation to pull electron cloud of anion is called its polarizing power. And this ability of anion to be polarized is called polarizability. Now you might think that I have said everything so fast, probably you are unable to capture everything, understand the concept very well. Let us take one example. Okay, see, this is a positive ion and here it is a negative ion. Let us take an example. If it is a sodium and this negative is Cl. In another case, this is lithium and again the negative ion is same as Cl. So this will be, one will be lithium chloride, another will be sodium chloride. What will happen? Lithium will also pull electron towards itself. Sodium will also pull electron density towards itself. Which will pull greater? The ion which will be smaller in size will have more capacity to pull it because of the nucleus is very near. So smaller the ion, it will have more capacity to pull it towards itself. Now, as you know that ionic bond is due to the transfer of electron from one atom to another. When it will start pulling, it will develop a covalent character in the molecule. That is what we are saying, that the development of covalent character in an ionic bond. Now, when the electron cloud of this anion means negative ion, cation means positive ion, right? So, when a cation is pulling the negative electron cloud towards itself, this is called polarization because the poles are being created, no? And the cation, like in case of lithium, is having more polarization power than sodium. The ability of cation to pull electron cloud will be polarization power. So lithium will have more polarization power than sodium. And in both the cases, whatever, Cl negative is getting polarized due to its capability to show polarizability. So I hope you guys have understood this, that a covalent character can form in the ionic compound. Now Fajan has given rule by which we will be able to compare many ionic compounds that which will have more of the covalent character. A very simple thing is extent of polarization is inversely proportional to ionic character, whereas directly proportional to the covalent character. Now what do we mean by that? See, if more polarization will be there, it will have more covalent character. That means in case of lithium chloride, the example what I have quoted, the covalent character will be more than in case of sodium chloride. Why? Because the extent of polarization in lithium chloride is greater than sodium chloride. So the cation which is having more polarization power will have more covalent character. Now there are some things which will help you to decide that the size of the cation is inversely proportional to the polarization. The smaller the size, greater will be the polarization. As I have told you in the example of lithium chloride and sodium chloride just now. So if lithium is a smaller ion, it will have more polarization power. Size is inversely proportional to the polarization. Therefore, the compound will be more covalent. Like you can see that lithium chloride is more covalent than sodium chloride. Then a very important factor, greater the size of the anion, more will be the polarizability. That means if suppose there are two halogens I negative and Cl negative, the polarization created by I negative will be greater than Cl negative. So here in this case, if we take positive ion as same, that is sodium, but negative ion as I negative and Cl negative, then the polarization created by I negative will be greater, so that sodium iodide will have more covalent character than sodium chloride. Why will it be so? Because greater the size of the anion, the lesser will be its electron cloud bound to the nucleus. No, if it is a bigger ion, the cloud will be far away from the nucleus, and it will be easy for the cation to pull this electron cloud, and therefore that generates ultimately polarization or the covalent character in the molecule. Now, this is one important point, that more the charge on the cation on an ion, more will be the covalent character. Now, this is actually applicable for the elements which are having variable valencies like stannous chloride, stannic chloride. If I compare, stannic chloride is SnCl4, stannous chloride will be SnCl2. Okay, so SnCl4 will be more covalent than SnCl2. Similarly, Na2S has more covalent character than NaCl, because here two positive atoms are here present. So the greater the charge on the cation, greater will be its polarization power. Similarly, greater the charge on anion, greater will be its polarizing action, and hence more will be the covalent character in the ionic compound. So there are certain factors which you should remember, that the polarization power or introduces covalent character in the molecule. Smaller the size of the positive ion, bigger the size of the negative ion, more the charge on the cation, more will be the covalent character in the molecule. If suppose there are two ions and one is having incomplete d orbital, or belongs to typical transition metal, then that will be more polarizing than the one which is not having that. For example, if you compare sodium positive with copper, then copper will show more of the polarization. In this example, copper and sodium have same charge, one positive, one positive. Okay, and approximately their sizes are also taken to be the same. But you will find that copper chloride will be more covalent than sodium chloride, because the cation with an inert gas configuration like sodium 2,8 will have more ionic character. The cation with pseudo inert gas configuration, why we call it as pseudo inert gas configuration, because here it's tend to be, so this will be pseudo configuration, so that will have more covalent character. You can simply understand it in a way that if any metal from the typical transition metal series is there in comparison to normal representative block elements or metals like sodium, alkali metals or alkaline earth metal cations, then the one which belongs to transition metal series will have more covalent character than the one which is not. So that was all about the polarization in the molecule, that is the polarity in the molecule, which is measured in terms of dipole moment. If you have liked this video, please do mention in the comment box, and I will definitely will see you in the next video, where we will be talking about valence bond theory. So children, that was all for this class. Hope to see you soon in the next video.